I made $1,000 today in 3 minutes. I know that sounds crazy. Here's the proof. The trade I caught today was one of the cleanest trades I've taken in a while. Between the entry, between the volume, it was just super clean. And today, out of all days, I decided to go in light. I only entered with 1 contract instead of my normal 2, and that's why I only made $1,000 instead of $2,000. But I cannot complain. $1,000 in 3 minutes is insane. I used to dream of days like this. So I'm gonna go ahead, do a breakdown for you guys, and I'm actually going to be showing you 2 other setups that ended up going to a TP2 that I did not take but could have made money on. So let's just go ahead and get right to the breakdown. This right here is a setup that made me $1,000 in just under 3 minutes, and I'm going to be breaking it down to you, but it's probably not going to take too long because it was that simple of a trade. And then I'm going to be showing you 2 other setups where they hit, we could have made money, but I'm happy we went with NQ. Now, I did post a reel on Instagram. You can find it here. It was recorded when I was live trading, so definitely go and watch that. You can see how fast and how accurate it was. But let's just go ahead and get straight to the breakdown. Now, starting off at 9:55, 9:54ish, you could see we were bouncing from this H1 level of demand, which I told the team, if we were bouncing from this H1 level of demand, I wanted it to bring us all the way up to the M15, M1, and M5 level of supply, which you can find here. I wanted to grab these wicks, get a nice clean entry, and then go straight to take profit. And that's literally what happened today. So let me just go ahead and show you guys how I mark this on each one of these time frames. Starting off with the M1, you can see this is that M1 previous contrary candle. So I marked the M1 supply right there. If we go to the M5, you can see the M5 previous contrary candle is right here. Then if we go to the M15, you can see the M15 previous contrary candle is this one right here. So I went ahead and marked M15 right here, and that's actually the level where I got my entry from. And you can see barely took any drawdown, and exactly what I wanted to happen happened today. We grabbed these wicks, we had that clean bounce from this H1, we tapped right into it, and look, no drawdown whatsoever. If you look at the video I put on Instagram, and I think I also posted a YouTube short of it, we didn't even have any red on this trade. So I cannot complain whatsoever, but it was that simple of a trade where it's not going to take long to explain. M5, M1, M15 level of supply, so 3 time frames in confluence. We grabbed these wicks right here, and then we had the clean entry. Now right here, you can see I have a TP1 line. Once price hit TP1, I did move my stop loss to break even, so it was a completely risk-free trade. But thankfully, we did not go back up to break even. We just kept going down actually very, very fast and ended up securing 50 points on this trade. Now, let me go ahead and show you the other 2 setups where we could have made money on today, and that is actually on Dow. This is the first setup on Dow. Now, look at this. We had the M15, M5, M1 in confluence. So 3 time frames in confluence again. Now, let me go to the M1 time frame just to show you how accurate this was. So basically, right after market open, 9:36, the market rejected off of this level, which I was expecting, came back down, tapped right into this level, and look, we would have barely taken any drawdown. It would have been a clean trade. We bounced off the M15 and M5 level of demand, and this went all the way to a TP2. Now, I don't enter off trades after they've already been tapped into their level. But if we fast forward to this setup, you can see we did retest that level and actually still could have made money. You can see price came back down, grabbed these wicks right here. We tapped back into the M15, M5. And then what happened next? That M1, the third and final level of demand in confluence, got tapped into. That's what gave us a rejection, and we went all the way back to a TP2. That's why I always say to the team, the more time frames in confluence, the higher probability of the setup. Because look at this. If this M1 wasn't right here, what might have happened? We might have just pushed right past this level since it was already tapped into, and we might have went straight to stop loss. But since that M1 was untouched, we tapped into that. Price respected it, reversed, and gave us a TP2 if we would have taken this. Now, that was just considered one setup, basically. Let me show you the second one on Dow. This would have been the second level on Dow. Look how we had the H1, M5, M15 level of supply and confluence. I had this marked out way before, right? Price came all the way up, tapped right into that level, and look, we wicked past it a little bit, right? But nothing too crazy, and then came down, would have secured a 1 to 2 right here, and we possibly would have secured a 1 to 3 right here. So you could see this trade would have ran a 1-3, would have had to hold it pretty late. But this is just an example of how accurate these levels were. Let me go ahead and just show you this real quick so you guys know the exact levels that I had marked out. So for this, I had the H1 level of supply marked out, which was right here. And then you can see we had the M15, which was right here. That's that M15 previous contrary candle. Look how clean this is. Previous contrary candle to the move, and this was a crazy move. So very strong level. And then the last one was the M5. So I went ahead and marked this. That's that previous contrary candle to the move. And look at this on the M5. Perfect example. Look how clean the move was. So this was a very high probability. The previous contrary candles were great, and then we had 3 time frames in confluence. So you could see even on the M5 time frame, notice how we just tapped right into it, got rejection, and then just came all the way back down. It's that simple. So I just wanted to show you the trade that made me $1,000 today, and I wanted to give you guys a little more. That's why I showed you these 2 setups on Dow. The strategy works, and the strategy is fairly accurate a lot of times. So make sure to backtest a strategy if you guys haven't even tried it already. Supply and demand is key. If you have any questions, feel free to drop a comment on this video. If you like the video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.